you, and you realize that this is such a beautiful soul in there, and she's going to have to live with the repercussions of this one man's I don't know what to call it. I don't want to call it evil.
I mean, she's 9 years old. Most 9-year-olds are quite trusting, so unless you've given them a reason not to trust, there's really no reason why, unless they've been trained not to trust strangers, there's no reason why they wouldn't be open and they wouldn't be trusting of people who have been accepted into a safe space or into a designated space that is safe. So whether you come into their home or whether they're at school, because mind you, when they're in school, they're in a space that for them is safe. They're with people that they can trust, and they're with people that are nurturing them. And so, she goes into school trusting that this person who is teaching me on some level cares about me. So it definitely took a certain amount of trust that she had for her teacher to even be able to go into the classroom with him after he had asked all the other children to leave. Because obviously a 9-year-old child is not going to be thinking that my teacher is going to do something strange to me, and this brings up the conversation of how abusers groom the people that they're going to abuse, how they build this relationship of trust.
It's very important. We will be going directly into that in a moment, and I'm going to bring Raymond in quickly on this before we move on. But before we do anything else, let's just announce the little good news that we have. In the first place, she's been to the hospital already. She went to the Winneba Hospital on Saturday. And after the visit to the Winneba Hospital, we saw some of the documents that she was given by the doctors. And this is because she has been referred to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, which they'll be visiting today.
Today, yes.
She currently has, I believe this was even reported earlier, but she has a perforated hymen.
Mm-hmm. Partially perforated.
A partially perforated hymen. It's suspected that she has a fractured pelvis. Mm-hmm. If you remember, she says she fell from the table to the ground.
To the chair
and then to the ground while she was struggling with this teacher of hers.
She also has a confirmed urinary tract infection.
Yes, she also has a confirmed urinary tract infection. So she's already living with the physical effects of this already. And we want to thank our silent donor who has decided to bankroll her all the hospital bills that she will incur in the process of her healing. Raymond, when these things happen, haven't we had enough? I mean, the number of cases that we have reported from schools, is it not enough?
Yes, because the school environment is not as safe as we always wanted to pretend it should be. Now, because our structures are in such a way that either classrooms are heavily packed, so the person who's supposed to monitor the teacher and the people who are supposed to be in charge of the students' welfare hardly get to know of some of these stories directly, because it would have started with some engagements with the child. And again, I have said that in a country that doesn't have sex offenders list published, you don't know who became the teacher along the line and who's teaching your child. And this guy who's committed this particular crime may in the next 5-10 years or so be teaching in a different school, maybe private or public, and you may not even have an inkling as to how that's possible. GES today cannot boast of knowing all the teachers in the private schools. And that's also one of the problematic.
And this was a private school.
Yes, we don't have their bio, we don't have their profile, we don't have their history in a way that will suggest to you that when I'm taking my child to the school, I can at least be rest assured that none of them has a history of abusing kids or in the position to do so. So it's true. One of the safest environments is always school. When you go and leave your child to the school, you expect that they take care of the child. They help the child develop mentally, spiritually, and all the forms that the parents would have done so in the absence of the child. Imagine it is foreseeable to any parent that this will be the same environment that my child will be harassed.
Yeah.
Because, and not even by colleague students, by the person whose sole responsibility is to take care of this particular child. It tells you how unsafe the environment is. This is a reported case, and I have read studies that suggest that 1 in 3 women, by the time they get 18, are harassed one way or the other in a similar form in this country. And the other statistics from elsewhere that are even looking very bad. The clear-cut indication here is that we have not cared enough to put in the right measures and systems to make it possible for us to have a system that doesn't allow for these things to happen. Or we have not gotten the system that makes it possible to pick up the signals right from the beginning. So we don't know the history of the teacher properly. We do not know what his real qualifications for even doing the job will be. And we do not know who has certified him qualified and competent enough not to harass kids in schools. Of course, they are first-timers. But all of these things, if we knew in times past, would have reduced the odds of having these issues happening consistently in this country. And again, we don't take harassment first and foremost. And more importantly, sexual harassment is a serious issue at all. We don't see it as a big problem. Unless, of course, like the child has got into a problem and it's in, we actually sometimes pay for it. So you've heard parents say that I complained of harassment of my child, and all that they did was give me money to take the person to the hospital or buy some drugs for the child. And I've seen in other parts of the country where traditional heads, chiefs and other people had intervened to say that so far as the child did not die and nothing really serious happened to the child, we can cope with the situation.
Okay.
It is how we tolerate the abuse.
Yeah.
That is learn some of these things first.
You know, if we have 1 in 3 women up to the age of 18 going through this harrowing experience, and well, I should say girls up to the age of 18, and we have 2 out of 5 students going through this experience, it means that there is a case to be made that the mental health of these children should be looked at again and again and again, because your guess is as good as mine, the mental and psychological scars that they will carry for the rest of their lives. It's necessary then that we have with us Dr. Kwesi Osei. He's the head of the Mental Health Authority. And we understand that Dr. Osei, you have very little time to spend with us, and so we'll make this as quick as possible. Please move closer to my mic for me. It's 16 minutes past 8 on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. I am Daniel Dazi, of course, here also with Enimo Enimado and Raymond Akwa. Dr. Osei, we know today is World Suicide Prevention Day, and we'll be talking a bit about that, but I'm sure you're familiar with some of these stories that we've heard. We are dealing with the issue of a 9-year-old girl who has been sexually abused by her teacher. For a girl like this, what are the effects on her mentally and psychologically going forward?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good morning to your cherished listeners. The effects are numerous and serious. Immediately, this girl will go through what we call post-traumatic stress disorder. It's an emotional situation where anytime the girl remembers the episode, she'll feel like vivid images coming through her mind, and she feels like running away, and she'll be going through anxiety situations, and it could be terrible to the girl. If it is not handled very well, eventually it may lead to depression in the girl. Indeed, the girl might even commit suicide, so we need to watch that one out. So that's very important. In the long run, this girl may be afraid of men, because it was a man who did that to me. So anytime I go near a man, I'm likely to encounter that again. So maybe afraid of men. Eventually, even during coitus, the body, the vagina, might go into spasms because it doesn't want to open up. So it will have difficulties, dyspareunia, painful sex. Then to eventually, some might even turn to become lesbians, because if it's a man that did that to me, then I won't go near men. I'll rather go to women. So some might tend to be lesbians, yes. And then, as I said, eventually some may get depression and other kinds of mental disorders. Plus, of course, the physical problems of infertility because of the scars and the wounds and the infections that may go on. So these are serious issues that any child that goes through that, we need to recognize and assist, support again.
And I'm glad that you've taken us from short-term to long-term effects, because these are very scary. What do you think we can do immediately to prevent some of these effects from taking hold?
One, of course, I'm sure the girl will get medical attention because of the scars and all those things. So she'll get medical attention. But it should not end there. Whoever is attending to the child medically should, both the pediatrician and the physicians or the surgeons, they should immediately include a psychological support or psychiatric or psychologist within the team, so that right from the very beginning, they give that support and then follow her up in the long term. So that's very important. If they just treat the physical problem, the scars, the bruises, and let her go, then she's likely to go and suffer these problems.
Which could also go into issues like suicide,
yes.
Like you were saying. Looking at that topic of today being World Suicide Prevention Day, of course, how serious is the problem here in Ghana?
It is. It is a serious problem. What makes it even more serious is the fact that in the past, if you heard of anybody attempting suicide or committed suicide, that person would have been a middle-aged to elderly person. So you say the challenges of life would have been a lot of hell on the person's mind. But now we are getting the age of suicide coming down and down and down. You talked about a 9-year-old girl going through this. Last year, we had a 9-year-old girl, a 9-year-old person, I don't remember that girl, boy, committing suicide. And now we have a lot of people who are teenagers attempting suicide or committing suicide. Not long ago, about a few years ago, a student committed suicide because he had failed to obtain the grades. In fact, he had 8 A's and a B, and to him that was a failure. So his sense of frustration, his sense of failure. And very recently, I'm sure you would all have heard, a few days ago, somebody, because of placement, an JHS person not getting the placement. So this person will be just about 15 years. So
is it that we are placing too much demand on young people nowadays?
Well, it's a society, and we can't help it. It's going to happen more. You know that Japan is amongst the nations with the highest, if not the highest itself, of suicide, because there is so much pressure, and we are having these stresses coming here too. So as we advance from low, middle-income country to middle and advanced, you should expect this. The only thing is that in the advanced countries, they also have the stresses, but they have the mechanism to deal with the stresses. We don't have the mechanism. In the past, stresses were there, but we had a traditional support system. You could go to your uncle, you go to your aunt, somebody will support you. If it was a financial problem, somebody will come to your aid. Now, the extended family system has broken down, so the traditional support network has broken down. We are advancing, we are becoming more stressed up as a society, and yet we have not put in place the modern methods of handling these stresses. So you see, we are torn between our traditional setup has broken down, we've not put in place the modern mechanism, and that's where we have these challenges. So they will be there, but the issue is the preparedness with which you will put in place the mechanism to address these issues.
And when you say modern mechanisms, my mind takes me to a recent survey done by the Daily Guide newspaper, which showed that schools in Accra, for senior high schools in Accra, there's no effective counseling center. Of course, this was done not too long ago, and I don't know what has changed now, but it really paints that picture, doesn't it? That mechanisms like counseling in schools are needed. What other systems do you think should be implemented?
Counseling mechanisms, very important. Yes, some of the schools have counseling units, agreed. But the counseling down there is often educational counseling. We need to incorporate the clinical psychological component. And not just the counselors alone. The teachers should all be trained, because often the teacher in the classroom might be the first person to spot a psychological problem in the child. Sometimes you think the child is troublesome, the child is naughty, the child's performance is going down and down and down. That could be a sign of a psychological problem going on in the mind of the child. So we need to train persons, teachers. Every teacher should have that basic training. Then in addition, of course, the counseling units, not just educational counseling, but clinical psychological component of it. But that is one aspect. Every workplace should also have, we are trying to establish what we call employee assistance program, where you give that support you need to every workplace. So like here, your studio here or your broadcasting unit will have a psychological support. So anybody, and then you all would have been taken through the first aid recognition of mental health problems. So as you go through, the stresses are coming up, you easily go there and you get your support. So that's very important. But it means that we must have enough personnel. So this is where we are lacking. And that means we must train and train a lot more. For now, we have just about 20 clinical psychologists in this public health sector. But there are about 200 or 300 out there who have not been recruited. So we need to be able to recruit them. And let's not only wait for the government to recruit. So all organizations should be able to recruit some of these people. And then as they are part of your setup, then they'll be taking you through these conditions so that you don't get a full-blown psychological problems that will lead to suicide.
Right. Dr. Akwesio say, like we said earlier, he has very little time to spend with us, and so we would ask for your final words, and then you can make your way.
Yeah, today is World Day Against Suicide. We want people to recognize that suicide is an issue. It's in Ghana, as it is everywhere. It will continue. The issues that bring about suicide will continue to be there, but our ability to handle these issues, that makes the difference. So let's recognize as we go through the features, feeling depressed, feeling withdrawn, feeling on edge, feeling nervous, let's approach health personnel. If you also see your colleague, your neighbor, your friend going through this situation, please don't simply say, oh, stop it. The person requires professional advice, so take him to the professional. Psychologist, psychiatrist, any health facility, you'll get the support. If they are not able to provide, they will refer you further.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Osei, for joining us this morning. Dr. Kwesi Osei is the head of the Mental Health Authority. It's 25 minutes past 8 on the Super Morning Show in Joy, 99.7 FM. We are far from finished when it comes to this issue. There's still a lot more to talk about. Remember, we are also talking about the mechanisms in our schools. We've already touched a bit on it with Dr. Osei, but we're going to continue the discussion. We're talking about the mechanisms in our school that can support students who have gone through this or can prevent these things from happening. What do we need to do as a nation to prevent teachers like this from making their way into classrooms in the first place? So in the end, your daughters, your sons can be safe when they are going to school or anywhere else. That's the kind of conversation we want to have on the Super Morning Show today. Stay with us.
It's a new day.
I want you to first think big, not small. Think of how great we can be when we work together. Together, we can ensure that our hard work will provide a better future. Together, we can provide a foundation for you and your business to succeed, regardless of its size. Together, we can create opportunities for all.
You're ahead of the race.
Bank with us today and let's journey forward together.
Forward together.
Cowbank, forward together.
It's time to own a hotel-inspired apartment near Accra Mall and switch on your urban life with a cool price starting from 315,000 Ghana cedis. Yes, you heard me. Choose our market-leading studio, 1, 2, or 3-bedroom apartment from Oasis Park Condominium at Tetakwashi and enjoy urban resort life. For this and more, call Evelyn on 0204 343 011 or Kojo on 0204 343 008. This is another catered development by CPL Developers. CPL Developers, built for life.
The other day, as I was in my kitchen preparing my special jollof made with lily rice for my family, I heard a knock at the door. It was my mechanic. Instead of calling me to pick my car, he brought it himself. I said, "Cho," he said, "F-O." I said, "Take the car back. I will come and pick it myself." As I turned off the fire from under the lily jollof, there was another knock at the door. It was my neighbor. I said, neighbor. He said, "F-O, my dog has jammed your wall again, oh." I said, "Don't be silly. You don't have a dog." My wife and kids came home, and we saw that he enjoyed. Cho, it was my pastor. He said, "Bless you." I said, "Bless you too." He said, "Did he come to church on Saturday?" I said, "Acho, but why are you coming to tell me this on Wednesday?"
Having to fend off visitors at mealtimes because of Lele's tasty aromatic rice? Celebrate every mealtime by sharing with friends and family near or far. Lele, tasty food, happy family.
Acho.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Food and Drugs Authority.
Grab your complete bathroom solutions from Jacqua with 10 years unmatched warranty. Jacqua offers world-class showers, faucets, sanitary ware, and all your bathroom accessories. Visit X Interior Design Showrooms, Main Spintex Road, and Kojo Thompson Road, and get your Jacqua fittings now. Or call 055-250-9566 or 023-684-5512. Jacqua, complete bathroom solutions.
What's your thing? A high baller, always after the bigger picture. Living your life in boardrooms, transiting through VIP lounges into first or business class. Sipping on some way while flipping through pages of FT and Bloomberg. What's your thing? Your life is busy and your schedule is crazy. But when you can make some time, you try to unwind with some jazz or high life. Over some drinks with friends, but the business talk never ends, even at the bar. Live the life you love on the go with the Stanbic Bank mobile app. Stanbic Bank, moving forward.
Every day, we wait for so many things. We wait for the bus. We wait for our lunch to be served. We wait for the workday to be over. We wait for our favorite TV show to begin. But you know what's waiting for you now? The world. Enjoy Emirates special fares to many exciting destinations around the world and earn double Emirates Skywards miles. Book by 10th September for travel from 3rd September 2018 until 31st March 2019. Conditions apply. Visit emirates.com/gh.
Solar Tech, the power to protect.
Yes! Solartech, your tried and trusted brand, is your total solution to all power problems, whether low voltage, high voltage, power surges, spikes, brownouts, or what have you. Solartech fully protects your valuable equipment, no matter your appliance. We have the perfect Solartech for you. Choose from my tried and trusted range, such as Fridge Guard, TV Guard, High Volt Guard, Multi Guard, AVS 13, AVS 30, AC Guard, Solartech TV Stab, Solartech Fridge Stab, UPS, and Solartech Voltage Stabilizer. Beware of counterfeit Solartech products. Get your genuine Solartech products today at our Abelinkpe office and all our authorized dealers across the country. Contact us at number 10 Yiwa Street, Abelinkpe, or call 0302-761450 or 0302-775106.
Solartech, the power to protect.
Coffee in your cup and Joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.
It's 29 minutes to the top of the hour here on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. So much has happened in the past 2.5 hours since the show began. Earlier, we spoke with Dr. Eric Osei-Sebe. He's an economist. He was proffering his views on the current depreciation of the cedi. He pointed at two things: the large informal economy and the black market. He gave one main suggestion, that the Bank of Ghana should pump money into the economy. Remember, in the time of Dr. Henry Wampa, when $20 million was put into the economy every day by the Bank of Ghana, he says we can do something similar. But just before the break, we were talking about the 9-year-old girl who unfortunately was sexually abused by her own teacher. We had the privilege of having the head of the Mental Health Authority, Dr. Akwesi Osei, joining us in the studio. And Dr. Osei tells us that it is possible this girl could be suicidal or have lesbian tendencies because of this this evil that has been done here. So his advice is that we immediately see to her mental and psychological needs. The conversation continues. We want to go to our schools and find out how is it that every 1 out of every 2 defilement cases happens in school, and what is it that we are doing wrong in the recruitment of teachers and making schools generally a safe environment for our young children. Your comments on the issue are welcome. 0244 340 437, 0244 340 437. That's the text and WhatsApp line at Joy997 FM. That's the Twitter handle, and Joy99.7 FM is our Facebook page. Now connect to DSTV from wherever you are on up to 4 mobile devices with the DSTV Now app and the Vodafone Showtime bundle from only 1 Ghana cedi for the daily unlimited bundle. All you need to do is be an active DSTV subscriber, download the DSTV Now app and dial *900# to access the Vodafone Showtime bundles. Call 0302 740 540 for more information. The future is exciting. Ready? DSTV. Feel every moment. Now, there's nothing more painful than running out of data when you need it the most. That's why Airtel Tigo is giving you big time data bundles. With Airtel Tigo's big time data bundles, you get more data for your 1, 2, and 5 Ghana cedi bundles than anywhere else, and you get a whole 1.5 gigabytes for only 10 Ghana cedis. Even better is a big 2 gig for the same 10 Ghana cedis when you bundle directly from an Airtel Tigo scratch card or from your Airtel Tigo money account. The best part is that you don't have to rush to use it all before it expires, because Airtel Tigo's big time data bundles have no daily, weekly, or monthly limit. You can browse how you want, when you want to. Guess the new big time data bundles today by dialing *111#. Now open an ADB account, send your name and account number to your relations abroad, ask them to use MoneyGram Direct to Account service, and receive your money in your account in minutes. With MoneyGram Direct to Account service, there is no PIN code wahala. ADB, truly a Greek and more. Now, the Welcome Back to School promo is hit back again. Going back to school will be memorable with the Welcome Back to School promotion. Grab items in primary, high school, and college essentials such as exercise books, stationery, fridges, electric hot plates, electric kettles, dry iron with spray, plastic water bottles, school bags, steam iron, bunk beds, lunch box sets, and many more in all Melcom shops nationwide. Melcom, where Ghana shops. Right, it's 25 minutes to the top of the hour. Malika Abbas Dabo has joined us in the studio. What we'll do is that we'll speak with Dr. Joseph Osafo, a suicidologist and head of psychology department of the University of Ghana, before we go ahead. Like we said, today is World Suicide Prevention Day, and we are looking at how to prevent suicide in Ghana. Dr. Osafo, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
In the first place, tell us what are the main drivers of suicide in Ghana as you encounter them?
Several of them. Several drivers have been found. And if I just could mention a few, at least from our studies, we found among young people problems relating to their academics. And so, for example, a young person who is in school and is having difficulties in performance is almost 3 times likely, at least in Accra, to engage in suicidal behavior. We found hopelessness, we found depression. You know, there is this link between suicide and depression. Some people, when they are suicidal, when they are depressed, they get suicidal. There are others who don't, but there's some link between depression and suicidality. We found that one as well. So at the individual levels, we are seeing academic problems, we are seeing impulsivity, we are seeing hopelessness and depression. But if you look beyond these individual drivers or psychological drivers, to look at the sociocentric factors, these are structural factors beyond the person, and they include, for example, poor supervision, lack of parental warmth, parental abuse, family conflict, and that's quite serious because we saw in one of our studies that if young people recorded strong problems with their parents, difficulty in family conflict with their parents, they are almost 2 times likely to engage in suicidal behavior. And of course, the link between somebody who rates himself or herself as poor has been established. And in fact, this has been established even in sub-Saharan Africa. Very strong link between poverty and suicidality. So when you put all these psychocentric or individual factors together with the social factors which drive poor mental health and, for that matter, suicidality in Africa, you would see that it's not enough to push along only psychocentric factors to say, for example, that people are not hardy these days, people are not resilient, and people have psychopathology, and so they should just go and see psychologists and psychiatrists, much as we want people to be proactive in looking for people who are qualified to help them deal with their psychological distress and psychiatric problems.
Right.
We also need to make an advocate strongly that government's social intervention is key in this part of our world. So these are some of the drivers.
Doc, on the issue of drivers, how do we reconcile the fact that Japan, having one of the world's highest suicide rates, does not struggle with issues of poverty as much as Ghana does? So how is poverty a driver in Ghana when Japan does not have those challenges?
And thanks for that. Very, very, very important question. So one of the first things you need to understand is that psychopathology or psychological distress and problem behaviors are culture-driven. And that means that there are several cultural factors that will influence the development and expression of behavioral problems or psychological distress. Now, one of the things we have found, a very key disparity between the expression of psychiatric and psychological problems in low and middle income countries as compared to high-income countries is that once we are recording higher numbers in structural factors in terms of poverty and age-related issues and how they contribute to poor mental health, in the West or high-income countries, they are recording high numbers of psychopathologies. And we need to understand these differences because, you see, what happens is that one is likely to say that the drivers, for example, in Japan, in the UK, in the US, for example, are the same drivers that may be influencing poor mental health factors in this of our world. They are not. In fact, in the US presently, the suicide is not decreasing at all, although the consumption of antidepressants, the idea that there's a strong link between depression and suicidality is so strong. And so in the US, that idea has translated into about almost 400% consumption of antidepressants. And yet, suicidality has never decreased in the US. Now, that would mean that there are several specific cultural factors in the USA that may be leading to this. And those may be different from what we see in here. So if we adopt this universalist ideology that what pertains in country A should be the same in country B, then we're not addressing the issues.
Okay, so Doc, since we have a very unique situation in Ghana, as you suggest, what would be those solutions that we should implement here to address the problems of suicide?
I think over the years, what has happened is that mental health experts, including myself and others, have always focused on this, what I call the psychocentric factors. And these are, for example, advocacy that really center on, for example, we need more psychologists, we need more psychiatrists. People should do A, B, and C. We have to reduce attitude towards stigma. We have to reduce our poor stigma attitudes towards people who are going through distress and all that. I think that we have to shift our focus a little bit more to begin to mount some pressure on government to speed up, social intervention schemes. I know that over the years, government attempts to, for example, intervene in people who find themselves in the extreme, poverty. For example, the LEAP program. I know that the LEAP is, over the years affected positively several rural folks. But, the capacity to alleviate poverty still remains an expectation. And we cannot continue to only say government should, all of us, for example, everybody should get up and go and see a psychologist and all that. The manpower crisis that the mental health unit or mental health sector faces in Ghana is so enormous that if you really want to adopt a population-based approach, then that is not the way to go, although that is still important. But what we need to do is to intensify advocacy and telling government that we need to address unemployment issues, we need to address poverty issues, we need to address this huge issue on rapid urbanization, homelessness, and all that. These are some of the central factors to begin to think about as ways of increasing government intervention. But beyond that, we still want to call on everyone in Ghana to be on the lookout for basic, signs that could help them lead someone to a health center or anybody who is in distress. And one of them, for example, let me just mention a few of them which are quite important for people to just take note. For example, if you find somebody who verbally, openly tells you that I am suicidal, you don't need to insult the person. You have to quickly find out where the person can get help. If the person has severe anxiety, there's agitation, the person is telling you I feel trapped, there is rage, recklessness. If the person tells you, for example, that I feel hopeless, is withdrawn, these are all signs to look out for, to lead the person to the next place of support. And I repeat again, that people should not be on the lookout to go and report people who are suicidal. I think we are beginning to leave this area of criminalization to rather providing help and humanize our judicial system so that we can provide help to people who are in distress.
Now, Doc, worldwide, close to about 800,000 people die due to suicide every year, according to the WHO. Also, suicide is the second leading cause of death in 15 to 29-year-olds. Does this mirror the situation in Ghana?
Yeah, the estimate is about 3.1, although that is in Ghana. Although that is an annual rate, one may say that if this is per 100,000 people population, that's not much. If you look at, for example, the annual rate of 11.4 globally, but that's quite serious. At least if you look at one of the data that we got from secondary school students in Ghana, we were interested in looking at, for example, whether, just to find out how many of them have ideated or contemplated, and how many of them have plans, and how many of them, for example, have attempted in about 2,000 secondary school students in Ghana. And about 18.2% have the ideation. And that one will say this is a problem if they are contemplating. Well, they may not follow through with their thoughts. But by the time they tell you that they are planning, about 22.5% of them say they have plans. That's quite dangerous. And about 22.2% of them have attempted. In this population, that translates about 500 students or so who have, for example, engaged in suicidal behaviors or engaged in suicidal behaviors in our secondary schools. Beyond that, we wanted to find out self-harm, for example, in adolescents in the secondary schools in Accra alone, and close to about 2,200 students who were, for example, approached. We've discovered that young women are at risk, for example, than young men. If you look at the drivers of why they engage in these behaviors, for example, young people who are having relationship problems, and you and I know that stage, adolescent stage, is really emotionally turbulent. Many of them, for example, may have difficulty with their boyfriends or girlfriends. They are twice likely to engage in self-harm. And those who have found themselves, or those who have been victims of physical abuse, and I think the biggest were those who, for example, have had friends who have attempted suicide or have attempted to harm themselves. They are about 5 times likely to engage in that behavior. So some element of copycat effect is in there.
Okay.
So although the number, as we compare globally, isn't much, we can say we can say with a certain degree of confidence that suicidal behaviors and self-harming behaviors have become a public health issue in Ghana.
Thank you very much, Dr. Joseph Osafo, for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
He's a suicidologist and the head of psychology department at the University of Ghana. He just joined us in our discussion around today's marking of World Suicide Prevention Day. A few quick points. He told us that one of the drivers for suicide is poverty. Quite simply, if people are poor, they are more likely to kill themselves. In that vein, one of the ways of preventing the occurrence of suicide in Ghana is that government should speed up social intervention programs, and like LEAP, for instance, livelihood empowerment against poverty, and also should ramp up the employment drive. It's interesting that earlier today we were talking about the exchange rate. I didn't think, Raymond, that I would be able to say if we have a better exchange rate, we would have a lower suicide rate.
I mean, of course, you can do the extrapolation because better exchange rates, the employer has more money, the employer can employ more people, and the business can go on. If your business goes on, people are not poor, they are not sacked, they don't have to go home and do nothing, make them contemplate suicidal thoughts and all of that. So
exactly.
The extrapolation is possible.
I didn't think that extrapolation would be possible.
Daniel, if you want to see a direct link between poverty and suicide, look at the number of people who commit suicide, the tomato farmers in the upper parts of the country. Brilliant. Who commit suicide when there's a glut and they lose all their investments in tomatoes. And beyond tomatoes, there are other crops where they make investments and then either because of fire or glut, they lose everything.
Or even Bagre Dam opening can actually flood the entire farm, they lose everything.
Those categories of farmers is very, very high. Remember the people who committed suicide because they put their money in DKM and they lost everything.
Yeah.
So that's a direct link there for you.
But then again, anyone like Dr. Safo said, it's not just poverty that causes suicide. So that an improvement in the economic conditions of Ghana will not mean that we are eliminating
It'll be
suicide.
totally eradicated. And Raymond pointed out in the statistics that we were going through last week about depression and suicide, that as much as poverty is the driving factor for most men, for women, it was relationship and marital issues. So, and one may say that, the finance of the relationship will affect the quality of the relationship. And so therefore there might be an indirect correlation. But yes, there are so many other factors. There are also biological factors. For example, if you don't have enough serotonin, if you're not producing enough dopamine, if you're not living a purpose-filled life, if you feel like your life doesn't count for anything, when there's death, when you lose people you love, there are other things that can actually get you to that point. If you have a baby and you have the postpartum depression or the baby blues, all those things don't have anything necessarily to do with poverty, but they can drive you to the point where if it is not treated properly, then you can get to that point. The thing, though, is that if you know what to look out for and you get the help that you need, then it can be avoided. And I think that in our society, one of the major things that we have to focus on is getting people to speak up about how they feel. Most people who eventually committed suicide have either been trying to speak up and nobody heard them, or there was nobody watching out for the indicators, because there'll always be certain number of indicators that if you know, you can watch out for. So us being able to speak out without it being stigmatized or without being told that your feelings don't matter or you're just feeling a certain way or you're not strong enough or get over it and stuff like that. If we understand that these are real feelings, then we can always stop it somewhere before it gets too bad.
It takes me back to that visit we took to Kaswa yesterday when I was listening to the mother say how eventually, at first, when her daughter told her that she had been abused by her teacher, it was so incredulous to her that she told her daughter to stop lying.
Yeah.
At that point, she had to tell her daughter that, look, I don't believe what you're saying.
Yeah.
And sometimes when people come forward with sentiments like this or to share experiences like this, it's as if our society is not used to dealing with it, and so we find it difficult to face it,
accept it. The other thing is that even with this mother, and it stood out for me when she said this, she said she did not believe this story until the man, the teacher, started to beg her that please don't take this to court. Please let us solve it at home.
So she trusted the teacher more than her daughter.
Yeah, that was the point at which she then realized that, oh, wow, this might be true. But that is the thing, though. When somebody comes to us with this kind of information, and it happens a lot with our children, the first reaction is that we don't believe them. The second thing is that we may believe them, but accepting that this is what has happened may be difficult. So we avoid or we deflect until the truth becomes too apparent. And then at that point, you have to deal with it. So it takes a certain...
And then even in dealing with it, we want to deal with it within the context of our society, so we don't want to be disgraced. We don't want to.
Because you remember that even in this case, she kept on saying that, they kept on begging her that, let's bring it home. Let's deal with it at home. And Raymond said it earlier about how sometimes we try to deal with these things traditionally. Let it come home. If nothing really happened to the child, then, but this one, it doesn't have to.
Exactly.
But when you say nothing really happened,
what do you mean?
What do you mean by that?
Because then we know that these children could be suicidal, which is why I was just going to add there, if we hear that 93% of all sexual abuse cases are not reported, this is why, because we don't want to deal with it.
Yes.
It doesn't fit with our world of how our picture of how the world should be.
Yes.
Even with cases that are reported, what did we have? We had about 1,919 somewhere in 2016. Only 120 of them were resolved, and it tells you that again they went to the police station this time, and then like the teacher was begging this time, they brought it home.
Yes, and the police officers sometimes even act as the middle person,
intermediaries,
for resolving problems that are clearly criminal. And what they do is that you give them some money, and you see the criteria for determining nothing has happened is when the child is not dead.
So, if the child didn't die,
even if the
then
child
they must
suffers
be
major damage to any part of the body, they will say, "Oh, we'll give you some money to go to the hospital." this society treats sex offense like something that ought to be tolerated, something that we can just close our eyes to and let it go.
But it's not just this society generally. Sex offenses are tolerated all around the world, which is why, apart from children, even women are still fighting this. Because
which
when
is why
a woman,
the Me Too movement,
yes,
for
because
instance,
when a woman
has
comes
become
and she says, "Oh, I've been raped," then you ask her, "Why? What were you doing there?
What were
you
you
wearing?" So that the onus of proving innocence is then on the victim as opposed to the perpetrator.
Give it to me and let me give it to Malik.
Then I dealt with a case, and I'm not mentioning names because there are real people involved here, where a man defiled his wife's younger sister. She was 14, and it was repeated. And then the lady found out. She caught them, and then the girl confessed to the sister that this has been going on for many months. And whenever he sleeps with her, he will go and buy her a drug so that she will not get pregnant. When she reported the case and the guy was arrested, the police who arrested the guy then told the guy that, look, this girl is 14. If this matter goes to court, you are done. They had taken away his phones and everything. They smuggled his phone back to him in the cell to call his wife and then plead with her and beg her, make all manner of promises to her to withdraw the case so that it doesn't go to court. These are the police officers themselves guiding the perpetrator. And the guy is not denying that he hasn't done this, but they are guiding him to get out of trouble so that the law does not take its course. This is what we do. The law enforcers themselves. And we had conversations with police officers who said that police officers see defilement and rape cases as a cash cow. When it happens, it's an opportunity for them to make money from the perpetrator. They tell the perpetrator, give us this amount of money, we will either frustrate the case, and these things happen in largely poor communities.
Okay.
They will take money and frustrate the case so that it won't go to court. Or they will tell the victims that if this case goes to court, you won't prevail.
Right.
They find a way of frustrating the victim to withdraw the case or to lose interest in it or to not pursue it, and then they take money from the perpetrator.
I'll read this message that I just got from Dr. Kojo Asante. He says, Daniel, there is a national crisis around sexual abuse against children. What is shocking is that parents are not angry enough to demand action. This because the children exposed to this are poor, vulnerable kids. If this affected middle-class parents, we will see a different reaction. This has been going on, and I have not heard the president raise this concern. Interestingly, our president is a gender champion. Yeah, he's a gender champion. He was appointed he was awarded just after he became a president. And he said this has been going on, and I've not heard the president raise this concern. Our nation building cannot only be brick and mortar. We'll be speaking with Dr. Asante himself immediately after this one. When we come back, we'll continue the discussion. But your comments are welcome on 0244-340-437 at Joy997 FM, Joy99.7 FM on Facebook, at Joy997 FM on Twitter. Use the hashtag JoySMS. Stay with us.
in collaboration with the Ministry of Trade and Industry and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, presents Ghana Industrial Summit and Exhibition 2018 under the theme International Partnership for Value-Added Industrial and Local Content Development from the 18th to the 20th of September at the Accra International Conference Center. GISE provides massive strategic networking opportunities for local and international participants, plus an interactive knowledge platform of stakeholders and players in various sectors of industry. Sponsors: GNPC, Rosatom, VRA, Deloitte, Newmont Ghana, Republic Bank, GCB Bank, Baroque Ventures, and Backpress. Media partners: Joy Business, Graphic Communications, BNFT, and Ghanaian Times. For inquiries on exhibition space and conferences, call 0244-933-106. Be a partner to drive industrial growth.
When you sit down to take your college finals, Here we go.
When your dream girl starts giving you her number.
It's 555-296.
When you're seconds away from signing an important contract.
Welcome to the team.
When your football idol is about to give you his autograph. You need a pen you can rely on. Big Crystal Original, the long-lasting pen with perfect ink flow. Big Crystal Original.
There's a reason everyone talks about togetherness, the strength in numbers, the longevity of community, the success togetherness brings. So it's a good reason that the Ghana Stock Exchange set out to bring companies and investors together to foster business growth and fuel individual wealth creation together. Because when we come together, things work for everyone's good. Raise long-term capital for your business or buy shares on the Ghana Stock Exchange today and see the prosperity it brings to all. Visit us on the 5th and 6th floors, City House, Liberia Road, or call us on 0302-669-908 or 669-935 or visit www.gse.com.gh or talk to a licensed stockbroker for more information. Ghana Stock Exchange, bringing companies and investors together since 1989.
With MTN Protect, this is my story.
All these downloads, and I still have so much memory thanks to the cloud backup.
Oh, wow. Thanks to the anti-theft feature, I can track and lock my phone even when it goes missing.
What's your story? Make the right decision by securing information on your mobile phone with MTN Protect. Text SD to 1359 and experience real security solutions like cloud backup, antivirus, anti-theft, and a lot more everywhere you go.
Good morning and welcome to the Joy Business Minutes.
Here are the latest stories from Daryl and Karen.
The Bank of Ghana has ruled out collapsing other banks alleged to be in financial distress. The assurance was given when the governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, appeared before Parliament's Finance Committee probing the 7 commercial banks that have collapsed.
The Securities and Exchange Commission is to roll out an updated corporate governance code to regulate the governance structures of listed firms. The revised code also seeks to improve market regulation as well as build the capacity of players.
Minister for Aviation, Kofi Adda, is hinting of plans to list government share in the soon-to-be-established home-based carrier on the Ghana Stock Exchange. Currently, the ministry is considering proposals from 3 airlines to find a suitable partner by the end of the year.
And the GRA will today start moving around to fully enforce the excise tax stamp levy after the expiration of grace period given to manufacturing firms and retailers. The tax stamp was introduced earlier this year to improve on government's revenue.
If you own a shop, be ready.
You should be ready. Do make a date again at 3:06.
At Afrodan, we believe that many of the problems people have with their health is as a result of the way they sit. In other words, your chair can kill you. Here's Dr. Marcus Mann of the Chiropractic and Wellness Center.
What you have to remember is that the spine is the lifeline to your body, and posture is the window to that spine. Now, posture is affected by your daily activities and habits like sitting. That's why at the Chiropractic and Wellness Centers, we recommend what I believe to be the best chairs available for preventing not only subluxations, but also other health problems that you may not be aware of. And that's Rabami and Mobilex chairs. Unfortunately, on a daily basis, I have to correct the effects of this poor sitting habit in our businessmen and businesswomen. Always remember, optimal spine equals optimum health.
So, for the sake of your health, buy Rabami or Mobilex chairs from Afrodan. We're on the first floor of the Swansea Shopping Arcade. Telephone 663-085.
Hey, Kwame, what's up here?
My brother, my wife has been diagnosed with cancer.
What? My brother is here with kidney disease too.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know the World Health Organization estimates that over 16,000 new cases of cancers are diagnosed annually in Ghana, and kidney diseases account for 10% of all medical admissions to Kolebu?
But thanks to Glycocritical Illness Plan, JoySMS, I have spent over 20,000 Ghana cedis on my younger brother's disease. Yeah. What is JoySMS?
Glycocritical Illness Plan, GSIP, provides you with financial support when diagnosed with any critical illness or dread disease such as cancers, strokes, kidney failures. Speak to GlycoLife today on 0302-218-500 for your GSIP policy. It is definitely in our interest to survive. GlycoLife, we cushion you for life.
Airtel Tigo is undergoing a nationwide network upgrade so that we can provide you with wider coverage, faster internet, and super clear calls. This network upgrade is going to be a smooth one. However, in situations where you have a network challenge, such as no service or emergency, kindly visit any Airtel Tigo shop or SIM upgrade center nationwide to upgrade your SIM for free. You can also call Airtel Tigo on 100 or 0277 551 000 or 0260 000 100 for more information as we fully round up on our network upgrade. This upgrade will not affect your Airtel Tigo Money account, airtime, or phone contacts. It's what we've all been waiting for as we give you a bigger, better, stronger network that gives you the most. Airtel Tigo.
Honey, I'm off.
It's 5 minutes past 9 on a Super Morning Show. Enjoy 99.7 FM. I am Daniel Daze, and you're welcome back from those important messages. And now, before we go ahead, well, we were earlier speaking with Dr. Joseph Osafo. He's the head of the psychology department of the University of Ghana, and he is a suicidologist. Today is World Suicide Prevention Day. We spoke to him earlier about the instance of suicide in Ghana. Remember, every 40 seconds, someone kills himself somewhere across the world. The situation, he says, in Ghana is also very worrying, with poverty being one of the main drivers for suicide in Ghana. He believes government should speed up social intervention schemes and should ramp up our employment drive. But however, the discussion has sort of dovetailed into sexual abuse and what is causing it and why it is happening so much across the country. Dr. Kujo Asante is the head of advocacy and policy engagement at the Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana. He's joined us on the line. Dr. Asante, thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Daniel, and good morning to your listeners.
Great. Now, what do you think we should be doing about this issue of sexual abuse as a nation?
No, I've been observing this. The news that's been coming out in the last couple of months, and I'm sure maybe people probably have not paid attention, but this has been something that I think is getting really problematic, particularly in schools, and that's where probably I want to focus. I know there are bigger issues around sexual harassment generally, even at tertiary level, but for me, secondary and basic. We really need to put in some serious measures to try to deal with this, preying on children, which is very, very disturbing. I mentioned in my WhatsApp message that we cannot really just be focused on building roads and this and that. This goes to the soul of any nation, to the morality of any nation. And it has to be a matter that is discussed at cabinet level, to make sure that, this is kept as quickly as possible. And it wouldn't require huge amounts of money to do this. So it's really about priorities and the kind of nation that we want to build. So for me, that's why I mentioned that I think by now I would have expected the president or cabinet to be discussing this. GES might be looking at it, or Ministry of Education, but it's not enough. This has to be elevated to a much higher priority and people tasked with specific things to do.
Now, in your message to us earlier, you mentioned how you are not seeing much of advocacy in this space because it's not middle-class parents who are being affected or children of middle-class citizens who are being affected. Do you think that there's a direct link between where we are economically as a nation and the incidence of sexual abuse?
No, I think it's about accountability systems. No teacher, maybe in sometimes when you have pedophiles who basically cannot restrain themselves, they might attempt it. But you will not attempt it at GIS or Morningstar. The sanctions will be immediate, or even the preventive processes that have been put in place are, quite clear. It's enforced because they know about the penalties. But particularly at basic school level, where there are basic schools, primary schools, even remote areas of Ghana, where teachers are very powerful in those communities. you can imagine what is happening to kids if they are sexually abused and then giving, 20 CDs or whatever going on. All of these matters will be just, handled under the cover. So it's a reality that it has its own demographic. That for me, a lot of these, so-called pedophiles are really just opportunists. There are no accountability systems in place, and the sanctions regime, particularly from GES, is terrible. When people just get transferred in these kinds of matters, things are handled outside of the criminal justice system and so on. So it creates a certain culture. There's really no real threat to a person's liberty or even the economic status. And that's why, for me, I support this teaching licensing system, because this is the kind of thing that takes away your license. Apart from whether you go to jail or any other penalties, there has to be real consequences for basically, snuffing the life out of a little child. And for me, I think that the fact that we are not getting, it's not, as I said, it's not a middle class problem, because in all of those schools, if a teacher dares, they will get hit with a ton of bricks. If it happens to somebody who's vulnerable, there's really, and that's where the state has a responsibility to make sure that they can protect every child.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kojo Asante, for your time this morning.
You're welcome.
Dr. Asante is the head of policy advocacy, the head of advocacy and policy engagement at the Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana. I'm coming straight to Malik because, Malik, you have taught in a school before. Yep. And when you hear Dr. Asante making a point about how, first of all, there are no proper accountability systems in public schools for teachers, so that he gives the example that this cannot happen in a school like Morning Star or GIJ compared to a school like maybe where you were teaching back in Sandema. And talking about how introducing things like a licensure exam would help, because then again, that itself is an accountability measure where if you did something like this, you lose your license. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. But this licensure, how is it going to be administered? Because you have to remember that the people who cover up are the people at the local level. And it is at the local level that no one pays attention to these things, that these things are so pervasive. There is such a pervasive culture of abuse and taking undue advantage of the vulnerability of young people in school, primarily by teachers and other influential members of the community, that it's almost acceptable for this to happen. I taught with a teacher who impregnated his JHS student and married her. Oh. So she didn't proceed. She just finished it, and she did well by the standards of this community. She did extremely well. But by the time the results came, she was pregnant. By the time the result from the BEC came, she was pregnant, impregnated by a teacher who ended up marrying her. And by the time I met him, they had been living for years. And he explained to me the circumstance under which he married her. I lived in a house with another teacher who was sleeping with his JHS student. And these things are so pervasive that no one blinks an eye in the community when they see them. And the other teachers really don't care. They just mind their business because it happens all the time. The problem I have is that our society has such an extremely high acceptable and tolerance for these things that when they happen, there is no anger at all. And in fact, when you are angry, people look at you like, are you normal? Are you correct? Because this is acceptable in the community. And so even the young girls have gotten to a point where they too accept it because the general society accepts it. Their parents don't complain. Fellow teachers don't complain. Head teachers don't care much. And the teacher knows that he can get away with it even if he were to do this repeatedly. The worst that can happen to him is to be transferred to another school. And Dr. Santi is perfectly right. These things happen in communities where the people live in squalor and misery. There is poverty all around them. And because there is poverty, the people really don't care about what their rights are. Because in those same communities, the well-to-do parents' children will not suffer these kinds of treatments because the perpetrators know that the consequences that will flow out of any abuse to a child of a well-to-do parent will be dire.
Okay.
And so people won't try it. But how many in our communities, in our local communities, how many parents are well-to-do? How many children are exposed and they are aware of what their rights are?
But anymore, does that mean then that, again, like Dr. Osafo said, the escape out of the danger of sexual abuse for your children is be a well-to-do person?
Unfortunately, in Ghana and for now, it looks like that's what it is, because it's about having the power to speak up. It's about having the means to prosecute, to follow up, and to demand justice for your child. I remember when we spoke to the grandfather of this 9-year-old girl, he kept on saying, in the midst of his pain and everything, he talked about the fact that this was costing him money, which he didn't have. We also noticed that he doesn't have any legal representation. Going to court on Wednesday, and they're going to court on Wednesday. And Malik, if you just listen to this bit from me, he said that at some point in the proceedings, the prosecutor asked the grandfather and the mother to step out of the room, and they were in the room alone, the man who abused her, the prosecutor, the man's wife, and the little girl. I mean, and so the grandfather concluded that, okay, maybe what they wanted to do was get her story. And then on Wednesday, they'll get his story so that they can link the two to see if it is true. So right now, it looks as if she has to convince the court or whoever it is that she is innocent. If she has been abused. If this happened to anybody in a different class, somebody who had money, somebody who was educated, are you kidding me? It will not happen like that. You know what I mean? There's no way it will happen like that. When we go and pick up our kids, you see the caliber of parents that are coming, the questions that we're asking, the way we are on the teachers concerning our children, noticing that that, look, if I touch this child, the trouble is going to be too much, and that serves as a deterrent. But when you are dealing with uneducated parents and parents who don't have the means, then that, which is why this teacher had the effrontery to go and give this child's mother 50 Ghana cedis.
Because he knew that 50 Ghana cedis is a lot of money.
No, the grandfather said they didn't take it.
The grandfather claims.
Yes, he claims that they didn't take. But can you imagine that if, God forbid, it was somebody like me, how much do you think you would bring me that would pay for what you have done?
Anymore, which is then the problem. In every society, because there is a recognition that not all the people have the means to protect themselves, the society evolves rules and policies that protect everyone, and the protection is
which
uniform.
Is where we've gotten to. Which is where how do we protect the children as a nation?
It is everyone for himself, God for us all. So if you have the means, you're educated, you speak very well, your children have protection just by your status in society. The others who don't have that, then they are subjected to all manner of abuse and indignities, which is what we have. And which is why I perfectly agree with Dr. Asante that we should be evolving policies that make this punishable, and the punishment is heavy, regardless of what the social status of the child's parents are and what exposure they have. If you do this kind of thing, your license is revoked as a teacher. You cannot teach at all.
Okay.
So that even if you were prosecuted, your job is gone.
And there must be a sex offenders list. There must be.
You know what?
Accessible.
Yes.
You know what a sex offenders list would mean? And I just want to end and transition into phone lines. A sex offenders list will mean, first of all, a national ID system, because we need to know who the people are. It needs a good digital address system, because we need to know where they live. And we need a robust police system, because we need a police station
reported, registered,
exactly,
yes, before
reported
they get
as
on
a
the
so
list.
that if they are reported at a place at Sandema, they can come to Accra and they will still be on the list.
Which means we
So,
need the
Malik,
technological support as well.
which
for
means that
this
as a
database
country,
to be
which means that
accessible.
as a country, if we want to protect the vulnerable in society, it is the same basic, and I'm glad we've come to this. It's the same basic economic questions that we haven't answered that we need to answer. It's the same basic questions. It's the same thing for suicide. It's the same thing for sexual abuse. It's the same thing for the Ghana city. If you want a better country, we need to come down to look at the ones and the zeros, the economics of it all. Anyway, it's 19 minutes past 9. I don't know if you agree with those sentiments. You can call in and you can also proffer your opinion. 0244 340 437 0302 216-541. I have a question for you. Have you had any experiences that have led you to think about suicide? You can answer that as well, or comment on any of the issues that we have raised this morning. Stay with us. Your phone line's open after this.
Make sure you grab some for the kids too. With new Delay Fruit Yogurt, you need more and more. Delay Fruit Yogurt, deliciously creamy and thick. It comes in fruit cocktail, strawberry, vanilla, and natural flavors. Adults like Delay Yogurt. Kids love Delay Fruit Yogurt. Contact Soticam Ghana Limited, located at Manette Junction off the Spintex Road. Call 0554 018 894. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Same great bank, helping you grow.
Do you have challenges transferring money to your friends or customers with accounts at other banks? Are you worried at the delays with other banks' checks you deposit into your account? Do you have challenges paying your workers or suppliers instantly across banks? You don't need to wait for 2 days anymore. Walk into any ADB branch today and send your money instantly to any account in Ghana, or link ADB Instant Pay to your accounting software for all salaries and payments. You can also access ADB Instant Pay service on our mobile banking app, internet banking, and star 767 hash. ADB, truly a Greek and more.
It's your day off and you end up looking after the baby while your wife goes off to work. You realize you have no idea how to change a diaper. So you video call your wife.
Hello, darling.
Yeah, hello. Hello.
Kojo, is everything all right?
Everything is not all right. I'm not seeing Topo. How do I change a baby's diaper, please?
Kojo. Okay, first, put the diaper.
The video call freezes. While you wait for the internet to catch up, the baby sprouts a fountain and wets the diaper. As you are getting a new one, your wife comes back online.
Kojo, no.
But I had to go and get a new diaper. What must I do next? I beg, quick.
Open the front of the diaper. It's the side that has...
Wow, look. The video freezes again. Abba.
By now, you know where the conversation is going. There's no buffering in real life, so why accept it from your internet connection? Get connected and experience ultra-fast internet to your home, powered by MTN Fiber Broadband. From the Internet Masters.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Charlie, what be your thing? Stand big, Brian, yeah, baby. My body wants your thing, know your thing, you for do your thing. My body wants your thing, know your thing, you for do your thing. My body wants your thing, know your thing, you for do your thing. Stand big, man, go help you to do your thing, to do your thing. Go support your thing. Stand big, them go do your thing. Stand big, go support your thing. Stand big, man, go help you to do your thing.
I am Dr. Acacia. Acacia gives your workers the best customer service and treatment options when the need arises, keeping them healthier and more productive for your business. Acacia Health Insurance. We place value on those you value.
Hey, bro, Kofi, your ceiling be smooth, bright and fine, Papa.
That's an understatement. It dey blink like 80 carats white gold. This be Interface plasterboard ceilings. Smooth, bright, and long-lasting. Everybody where they come here, they fill up. Where they direct them go Interface Limited for world-class quality.
If you're involved in new property development, renovation, or decoration, the right place for you is Interface Limited. Call us on 0274 999999 or visit our website at www.interfacelimited.com.
Did you know that bed bugs are dangerous insect pests that cause sleeplessness, tiredness, body rashes, anemia due to blood loss, and general discomfort to humans? Unfortunately, they are so difficult to get rid of. They spread in your beddings, your child's beddings in boarding schools, bags, lockers, clothes, everywhere. You may not see them all, but they are there. That's why you need the Innisfly Bed Bug Solution, a ready-to-use effective solution. All you have to do is shake it and spray infested areas, wait for it to dry, and that's it.
Yes, spray the bedbugs out with Innisfly Bedbug Solution now. Households, boarding schools, and other institutions with minor and major bedbug infestations.
Call 05777010000.
Innisfly, beautiful protection.
Airtel Tigo spoil them big time. Sir. Some new big time bundles view.
The only bundles I want hear about are bundles of cash.
So what about a bundle that gives you the most data on your 1, 2, and 5 Ghana Cedi bundles than anywhere else? And also gives you a whole 1.5 gig for only 10 Ghana Cedi.
Please, no network could give you that much data at that price.
Sir, well, Airtel Tigo does. And you even get a big 2 gig for the same 10 Ghana Cedis when you bundle directly from an Airtel Tigo scratch card or with Airtel Tigo Money.
Hey!
Airtel Tigo's new big time bundles do not expire. You can browse, sir. No more daily, weekly, or monthly bundles.
Hey, bad. How do I subscribe?
Dial *111#, select big time bundles and browse, sir. Whether you're a new subscriber or an old subscriber, T's and C's apply. Get big time data from the network that gives you the most. Airtel Tigo.
It's 25 minutes past 9 on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. Quite a conversation that we have had today on the show. It's time for you to call and contribute. We've been talking about the instance of sexual abuse in schools. We've talked to Dr. Kojo Asante of the CDD. We've been having a conversation among ourselves on the matter. One thing is assured, we are not done with this particular subject, but we want you to contribute to this. And also, because today is World Suicide Prevention Day, we want to ask, have you had any experience that has made you consider suicide before? If you're willing to share, you can call us and let us know. You can also text us on 0244340437. You can also tweet at us at Joy997FM. Go on our Facebook page, Joy99.7FM. The hashtag is JoySMS. Remember that the phone lines are open 0302-216-541, 0244-340-437. Now, parents and guardians, look no further. Visit any of the Kingdom Books and Stationery outlets around Ghana. Enjoy a 10% discount on all school materials from the 1st of August to the 29th of September 2018. You can also call ahead of time to book an appointment on 0501 40 10 50 or 0302 762 101 or log on to kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all stationery and office furniture. Text messages are brought to you by Afrodan, your back must last your lifetime, and Glyco Travel Insurance Policy, we cushion you for life. Get the Glyco Travel Insurance Policy designed to cover travel costs and reduce the risk associated with unexpected events during your international and domestic travels to Europe, the Schengen countries, or anywhere worldwide. Talk to us today on 055-530-5547 or 020-887-6956. Let's help you plan for a peaceful travel abroad. Glyco Travel Insurance Policy. We cushion you for life. Glyco Travel Insurance has cut the hassle, all the convenience. Glyco Life, we cushion you for life. Now, Afrodan is offering you today the most comfortable chair in the world, the Nightingale Extreme Comfort Chair. With over 10 thoughtfully engineered features, especially customized for your health and comfort, working has never had it this good. So go to Afrodan on the first floor of the Swansea Shopping Arcade and feel the chair You will be amazed. My first caller is Nana Boating from Koforidia. Good morning, Nana.
Good morning, Dan.
How's everything?
By the grace of God, we are well, and you?
By God's grace, we are well. Let's hear you.
Okay, I think that we play around the subject most of the times because the experts in economics sometimes do not even understand the problems themselves. I'll give an example. For the CDR depreciation, they are always theoretical and not practical. I have experienced a friend who came from Europe and had to change 50,000 euro on the street at the airport runabout. So there are no records for those ones. And then most traders in Ghana are also non-Ghanaians, Nigerians, Lebanese, etc. And what do you think they will do? They will repatriate the money. All they bring to Ghana are goods. We will buy them, and then they will take the money back, and they will not take cedis back. They will take dollar or whichever currency back. And so the cedi would have to be depreciating. So we bring them in as experts. They don't really diagnose. I mean, you don't have to go and do master's degree before you understand concept of economy.
So there's too much foreign interest in Ghana. That's your point.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And then if I may also touch on this suicide and
yeah, actually, that's what we'd like you to comment on.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that we don't look at the interest of people. I mean, the masses. We don't look at the interest of the masses. When people are going through problems, they are not attended to. For me, it's only when people become victims and then we bring them to radio to come and talk. But in our quest to probably curb those things before they happen or prevent them, we don't do anything about it. The police themselves are the worst you could talk about. And I'm prepared to stand on any platform in Ghana with my face, my identity, to tell them the rots they have been engaging themselves in. It's unfortunate.
Thank you very much, Nana Boating, for calling. Selom is calling from Jamestown, but you can also call on 0244 340 437 or on 0302 216 541. I'd love it if you would share your experience if you have ever gone through an experience that has made you contemplate suicide before. Hello, good morning, Selo.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Let's hear
I'm a professional teacher myself, so I was touched about the department of the girl. But I want to ask if we are asking the right question. The incident was committed on a school compound. The school has a name. The school has an owner or a proprietor or proprietress. The school has a head master or head teacher. Now, something was committed under the supervision of somebody. Questions have to be asked. And if you ask the Ghana Education Service right now, whether they register or they know the teachers who teach in the private schools, some of them, if you go to their background and their qualification, it's a problem. But you see, it's a lender of the last resort. Anybody who cannot get work and they have not passed their SS education and so on and so forth, run to a family member and so on, and then they become teachers. So the question, who is a teacher? I don't listen, but I don't subscribe to anybody defiling a child. That case must be handled properly and the person punished. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Selom, for calling from Jamestown. Peter is calling from Doma Bing, but you can also call on 0302 216 541 or 0244 340 437. Good morning, Peter.
Yeah, good morning, Daniel. How are you?
I am blessed. How are you?
I'm fine. Thanks for the good work you're doing for Ghana. My name is Omusumuru Peter from Doma Bing. Daniel, you know, there's a saying that prevention is better than cure. Why do we have to wait for a teacher to abuse a student sexually before we invoke his license? You know, sometimes this happens as a result of the student dressing or the people dressing. Sometimes the dressing that these children take to school is not good.
Peter, don't these children wear school uniforms? And the girl we are dealing with is a 9-year-old. What could a 9-year-old wear?
Okay. Yes, sometimes it can happen. Sometimes you see the children wearing some short.
Okay, so I'm going to go to on the other line and speak with Titi from Abelingpe. Who just joined us. Good morning, Titi. Thanks for calling.
Good morning. Good morning.
Right, let's hear you.
Yeah,
I thought I'd contribute to this, and that a couple of callers ago said, as a people, we're not angry enough about these things, and we're not being proactive about preventing them. I would say, almost immediately, with this case, you can push it to the next level and say, for this girl's case, we're going to institute a sex offenders list. And it's not just in schools, it's just general harassment, sexual harassment around generally. So we have a sex offenders list that you cannot get into any school and teach kids if you are found to be on the list. And I think we'll be acting in the right direction then, and something can happen from there on.
Thank you very much,
We
Titi.
prevent these things.
Thank you very much, Titi. Those are some great ideas. Collins is calling from Kumasi. Good morning, Collins. Good morning, Collins.
Good morning, Daniel.
Great. Let's hear you.
I am a professional counselor, and I have one very personal experience with one student who was given a scholarship in one of the girls' schools. Apparently, she was being abused by one of the teachers, and then she reported to the headmistress of the girls' school. And the headmistress told her that you're having education for free. And so this is what you can do to, in a form of, equate or, balance the equation. Not asking about whether it happened or not. But the issue is that if this thing goes out, the school's name is going down. And so you have to just keep quiet for us. We handle it internally so that, you have also helped us. We have helped you. Now, this girl came to me and she was contemplating on suicide. Reason is she has nowhere to go. She has nobody to speak to. And then she confided in the headmistress, and that was the response.
And this was the headmistress of a public senior high school.
Just like that.
Collins.
Yes, sir.
This was the headmistress of a public senior high school.
If I could speak to your producer off air, I think it will be much better. I think that. Yeah,
you know what? Hold on, and talk to Papaya.
Okay.
Hold on and talk to Papaya. I'm gonna speak with Yao Boating from Adon Kwanta, who is my last caller, and Collins would move off air with Papa. Good morning, Yao.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, let's hear you.
Yeah, thanks for the work you're doing for Ghana. Daniel, I will touch the dollar to the cedi. Daniel, you see, this is happening as a result of our contractors. One, if we have a country where contractors quote their prices in dollars, this will cause the dollar to increase while the cedi depreciates. So we will beg our contractors, when you come to water ready like this, you can get stones free, the sand free. Apart from the bitumen and all those things, the rocks are there. You see, sometimes, so when you quote your price in dollars like this, and you come there, you get everything free. That.
Okay.
These things will cause the dollar to increase. Okay. And
right.
And if you have a country that we patronize foreign goods than local goods, this will cause the dollar to increase.
Right, thank you very much, Yao Boating, for calling us. Yao Boating is our last caller. It's time for us to take another batch of commercials, and then we have another conversation coming up. But before we go, the third Kojoba Radio Memorial Lecture will take place at the Ghana India Kofi Annan Center for ICT Excellence, Rich. The date is Thursday, September 2018. Time is 4 p.m. The lecture is on protecting the public purse, keeping the gate shut before the horse bolts. It will be delivered by Auditor General Daniel Domelevo. The chairperson is Professor H. Kwesi Prempe, Executive Director, Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana. This event is supported by the Multimedia Group. Also, as part of the 80th anniversary celebrations, Presbyterian Boys Senior High School Presec Well, Presec and the Odadia Global Association presents the Presec at 80 Grand Durbar, dubbed Our Powerful Past, Prosperous Present and Prominent Future. Come join the Christian gentlemen of the #1 senior secondary school in Africa, Presec, as they celebrate 80 years of their past, present and future in grand style. Come, experience Presec's rich culture, history and tradition as Odadias in various professions from archaeology to zoology gather to pay homage to our great school, Presec. Date is Saturday, 15 September 2018. Venue is Presec School Grounds. Time is 10 a.m. prompt. Chairman is Right Honorable Professor Odadia Michael Kwe, Speaker of Parliament. Special guest of honor is His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana. The dress code is Presec at 80 anniversary cloth. Oh, come along and join us. Happy, studious are we. For more info, kindly call 0242 705 983. We'll take these important messages. When we come back, there is more on the Super Morning Show. Stay with us.
Africa is filled with them. People are going places. Businesses are starting up. Things are happening on our continent every day. And as a forward-looking organization, we believe there's no better time or place to do business than